First thing that came to my mind was, oh, happy day. It's raining and drizzly, dreary outside. I was going to say drizzling is what the rain is doing. It's not really pouring or anything, but it's making noise, and it's wet. Wet enough the dog don't want to go out and potty. Don't want to go out to potty. I can't get him to go. I told him, he can't be going in here. But surely he went out first thing this morning when everybody was up. They get up really early. They go to bed really early and get up really early. And guess what? When I go to bed early, oh my, I was up at 2:30. So I'm hoping, they say you need to have deep sleep and a long sleep. I don't know what that REM sleep is or what's what, but you need to be able to dream. And I've noticed I'm dreaming, but I don't know what I'm dreaming. They're kind of, I don't know, because it's right there before you wake up or right when you wake up, Sometimes my memories for later on in the day. And other times it's, I haven't had those dreams. And yes, I do smoke pot to a point. I'm not doing it that much, but the point is, in the past I have noticed that it seems to stop your dreams. I'm not really sure the science on that or if it's a fact. But yeah, well, actually, I wasn't going without then. I've had some quite, I don't know my right words. In other words, dreams that imprinted on me that I can still remember to this day. Like that vision I had. I know it was a vision that I had about the Urim and Thummim. It's in other videos, but you're not gonna go see all my videos. I'm getting real close to 1,000. But I had been praying and praying and praying, diligently studying and trying to understand how could God make an earth? How could He make people? Look at all the intricacies of our bodies. And then plant life and animal life. Everything that in the earth was made by Him. And they're saying Jesus Christ. Hopefully you can hear me. I don't really control my volume very good. Sometimes it goes down low, depending on what I'm talking about. So, I know I've done a whole lot of reading. And hopefully some of you guys are paying attention. And yeah, I listen to myself and it can be mundane and boring, especially if you're not interested. But there's important stuff there. And are you going to take the time to go read it? A lot of us will not. Probably if it was not for me having cancer and getting a kick in the pants for things that I need to accomplish before I leave this earth. I mean, I was going to write a book a long time ago. I was writing analogies. I would observe things and then I'd write down what I thought of them. And it wasn't like I purposely would observe something and then go write a paper on it. It would be out of the blue. I would usually be compelled to do it. I would have a thought, a light bulb moment or whatever. I would have these thoughts going on in my head, and I had been given a journal by my mama. Plus the church tells us to keep a journal while your memories are fresh. You'd be writing stuff down. Document things. You don't have to do it every day. My mother went crazy. I mean, she wrote every day. However, when I'm writing, I do discover that it's great therapy too. And sometimes when you think you're just talking, someone else might be talking to you. So pay attention. I'm serious. It's a weird thing. You do things with caution. About to get off on a separate subject. Spiritual writing. Have you heard of that? Because that's kind of like what it was. I sat down to write in my journal one day, and I mean, I hadn't been keeping a journal. This was new. And my daughter's in kindergarten, so she's like 5 years old. And I'm living up on a mountain. 15 miles up Washougal Canyon. I'm living in a farmhouse, an old house on 500 acres at least. And then I don't know what it adjoined to, because there could have been a lot more than 500 acres. And it was green, rolling hills, beautiful green, and then trees. And the guy that I rented the house from was running cattle on that property. So I had cows around me. And he had some pigs across the street too. But the point is, I got a taste of tranquility. But I also had that started to say compulsion. It was compelling anyway. I had this insatiable thirst for knowledge. I wanted to learn while I was there, and there was no TV, there was no telephone, there was no people. My daughter was in school half the day at least. I can't remember if she went all day or half days. Because sometimes kindergarten is half days. Used to be. I have to have a drink. In some ways, I say that was a stupid thing I did moving up there on that mountain. But then I had a lot of experiences up there. So I think I must have been supposed to be there. But I left a good setup. I'd finally gotten a house. There was a little one-bedroom house me and my daughter moved into, and not even a month. I don't even know if it was over a month that I was there, that I ended up moving in with this girl to help her out with her bills. Well, she lived up on that 500 acres. So that's how I got up there. And then a month later, she moved out. She had found a boyfriend and was enjoying his company at his house. So she left me with all the bills. I went up there with the intentions of helping her, not having all the bills. So that was terrible. That was a side note. Anyway, I had a lot of experiences up there, and they were really pretty cool. And it was good that because I was talking about being compelled. You shouldn't be compelled in all things, but if it gets you to read the scriptures, that's a good thing. And then those papers that I wrote was the same thing. I would have, like I said, a light bulb moment, and then I'd have to write down what I observed. And sometimes it was like poetry. And you know, poetry can be freestyle, it doesn't have to rhyme. But sometimes I would be writing and then the middle of it would be a poem. Or sometimes I would write a little poem at the beginning and then I would write about the poem that I wrote. I really like what I wrote. And I do feel like it was for all you guys. And so, like I said, I had a kick in the butt. Because I was, all these years, I was going to put it in a book. In fact, I put it in a notebook. So I wrote them in a journal first, and then I typed them up. And then I put them in a notebook in those little clear things you can put your papers in to protect your paper, but it's got the holes to be in a notebook. I'm sorry for rubbing my eyes. So anyway, I got all my papers put in an order. I mean, I worked hard on that, just even figuring out the order to put them in. I didn't go by date, but then again, if I go look at it, you never know, they might be by date. Because you learn things, line upon line, precept upon precept. Sometimes things just come to you in a flow. I don't know how to explain that. I must have written before then, but the first one that, for now anyway, the first one I remember, my daughter was in kindergarten and it was called Turn On Your Light So You Are Not in the Dark. That was a simple statement that I made to my 5-year-old daughter who was sitting in her room playing. And it had gotten dark. You know how the day goes and you got light, and then as night comes on, it gets dark and stuff. Anyway, she was still in there playing. And I told her, I says, turn on your light so you're not in the dark. And then I said, wow, what did you just say? You know? So I had to go write about it. I took that sentence, and I made that the title of the paper. And I took that sentence and took the words from the sentence and gave all those words meaning, and then wrote it again at the end, a synopsis of what I was trying to say, which is God is light. Also, understanding is light. Darkness you can't see. And the light you can see. Anyway, it's a lot bigger and better than that. That's just a little bit of it. And it's one of the papers I wrote, and it was 43 years ago, I think. You know, because time keeps going on. It could be 44 years before you know it. But that one is a really good one. Turn on your light so you're not in the dark. And then there's one called Thoughts Flying in the Wind. Yes, if you have your little notebook, you should write those down because you really should look them up. And I did make a post. There's a place where you can go and look at my post. And it might just say post. In the past it said community. But what was I saying about that? Oh, I had a piece of notebook paper and I had written out the titles of some of the papers. Because in the very beginning of this channel, that's what I started this channel for, was to share the papers that I wrote so long ago. And I wanted to make sure, I mean, because I was going to put them in a book, but there was never enough to put in a book, plus I didn't know how to do it. Plus I'd already published it all over the place because I gave it to people. I shared it with people way back when. I brought light into the darkness of a lot of people. Maybe they were living in darkness and I brought some light. I know that for a fact, know that I changed the lives of a couple people, a father and a son. And I told that story somewhere in my videos. Anyway, I'll let you go find it. And I'm not sure where it would be. But nevertheless, the point is, go back in the very beginning of my channel and look for these papers and check them out. And it's not that you got to read it, you just listen to me read it. And then put this out to you too, both scriptures and my papers that I read. The thing that I'm reading is not near as long as the video. So I'm doing a lot of talking, is what I'm trying to say. I got something to say about what I said. And sometimes you need that, because I wrote another one called To the Reader of This Work. And I said in there, I took great pride in the trickery of my words. And not everyone will understand right away. In fact, most people will not understand right away. Some of my things, you got to read a few times. You got to go over it a few times. It's just like the scriptures. You do not get it all at once. Maybe it's, first of all, it's being introduced to you, so it's all new. But even so, if you don't delve into it, you won't get the meaning. Okay, so then I've told you 3 of them. Turn on your light so you're not in the dark. What was the one I just told you? Thoughts flying in the wind. That's a good one. Then I told you To the Reader of This Work. And there's another one called I Wonder When My Day Will Be. And the next line is, when I am of the body dead, when I am gone away from thee. And then there's a space between stanzas, and you can kind of get lost in my meaning there unless you understand. You read that first stanza and you stop. Then you're in a separate place when you start the second stanza. Because I just ended with saying, I wonder when my day will be, when I am of the body dead, when I am gone away from thee. And then what I said next was, I wonder, my spirit will await for that great day. See, I'm going in my head. It's in the book. Actually, the book is right over there. I need a little microwave up here. I've got this coffee that I talk and don't drink it, and then it gets cold. But I don't always enjoy having a cup of coffee, but I have lately. There hasn't been any left in the morning. When I get up, it's all gone. Or maybe a drip or 2 is in there. Maybe enough for an 1/8 of a cup. So what I've done today is I added a couple of cups of water, and I added a scoop of coffee grounds to what was already there and made me some more coffee. Now I've got to let my daughter know that we got to go get creamer, because I can't have the coffee without the creamer. And her creamer is 0 sugar, but that usually means there's something else in it that's not good. So I'm not really sure. The words are always too little for me to read. So, I've been rambling on. I was gonna read to you about the millennium. And like most things that I read to you, especially, it's not always new to me. Some of it is. But meaning I haven't studied over it before I present it to you. And especially reading out of the Mormon Doctrine is pretty cool because of the way they do it. I keep feeling like my bones are cracking, popping. When I do, I need to heat up my coffee, doggone it. It's thundering outside. We're actually going to have us a storm. We've had a lot of drizzling, but I haven't heard any thunder and lightning type thing. And I think Chase does not like that noise, so he'll probably be sticking close by. It is strange to look down and find him on the floor in my room. But it's just because no one else is here. But at least he likes me enough to come up and be in my room. And actually, this is the office. I have two little rooms. They're small. They're enough for a small bedroom each. When I mean, like I was talking about boarding houses or whatever, you know, you give them their space and then you have your common space to use together. However, you have to have rules. Nancy's got her house set up pretty good. She really does. Cheers. Have a cup of coffee with Lou. So a message pops up, you know, when you've got all these subscriptions, it lets you know when something's coming. And I'm going to be busy during that time, so I can't watch it anyway. Oh well. Hopefully, you know, most of those things that go live, you can still watch them after. You might not get to see it right when it comes out, but hopefully you can still watch it. And today is Friday, which means I need to take my pills. These things, and all the leathering is all wore off. I just have to kind of know where the days are. And today is Friday. Friday. You know, for much I would quit taking this stuff if I knew better. Meaning the things that are interrupting my hormones. Because you need your hormones. So yeah, let's just rip all my hormones out of me. And that's not really what they're doing. What they're doing is this little pill that I'm fixing to take. It's called Letrozole. And it stops the production of hormones. Okay, so it's preventing, and it's this little teeny tiny, I don't know if you can see it, little teeny tiny pill. And then this pill is not a pill. It's not even a capsule. It would be more like a gel cap or something. But this is my calcium and my vitamin D3. So I need this to make this stuff build up my bones. And this, I found out, I'm pretty sure anyway, that I'm not supposed to have a copay with these next two scans. But the PET scan, $250. Okay, so here's my this is a capsule with a white powder in it or something similar, not really white. This is my liver detox, I'm pretty sure. I got a bottle of liver detox. It's got milk thistle. Is that I don't know, I can't remember, but I think it's got milk thistle in it, which is I'm not sure what these things are good for. It might be for the blood pressure. I have to read about it. I know I've read about it to you guys probably. I just can't remember it. Now, word of warning. And I'm taking them anyway, but I don't know if I should. I ordered some stuff. It was in my feed on Facebook. Okay. Well, I talked about it in the past because I really thought they screwed me over. And they might have anyway. But what happened was I ordered it. And you got to be careful. Some of the things you got to be careful of, and I swear they don't tell you that, is sometimes they put you on like an auto. So when you give them your credit card information, sometimes they think or they tell you anyway they don't tell you, they just do it, that it's an automatic deal every month. Okay? But their ads say that, just a few days of this pill will get rid of your blood pressure, high blood sugar problem. Okay, so why do you need so many bottles? That's what somebody said. And but anyway, yes, I ordered it. And the first thing they did was double charged me. And the guy was telling me when I finally got a hold of him, finally figured out how to get a hold of him and try to do something about it. It was hard for me to even say, yeah, let's do the 120. It's $120 for 6 bottles. I shouldn't have bought it probably. And I don't know that it's going to work or not work. And I really do like Barbara O'Neill, and she was the one talking, but they had a lot of people talking, and you know how AI is these days. I don't know a lot about it, but it seems like they can just personify you, your picture or whatever, and make you do all kinds of things that you're not really doing. And I can see it. I can see these advertisements of these celebrities, and you see their mouth is just not quite right, and they're being weird. Anyway, that's another subject. So, I got these pills for high blood sugar. I was telling you what happened. They double charged me, so then I got a hold of him, and he was telling me, no, the only way that deal works is if you buy 6. Okay, so the deal was you buy 3 and get 3 free. So that makes 6. But he's trying to say you had to buy 6 and get 6 free. And I'm going, no, I didn't see anything about that on there, And then he just got prompt about giving me the money back. The extra. So instead of $239, it was now $120 that I paid for those bottles. Well, I reported it because I was upset, and I didn't know how to. I reported it to my bank and to whoever because, that's important. They got your information. And anyway, when I got a hold of this guy, he promptly gave me my refund, and he said it would take a few days to show up, a few business days. It was probably on the weekend when I did that. But anyway, not very long ago, so at least I've already told the bank, right, about all that. And they couldn't do anything because I authorized it. Zelle is a good thing, but you're authorizing it and you can't take it back. And I don't believe this was Zelle. Well, hello, Bubba. Okay. Well, I guess I probably need to get off of here. I'm just rambling anyway. I will let you guys go, and I'll be back later, okay? Bye.